Hey guys, welcome to a new market update. It's a beautiful Friday right now. Markets are slow, about to close soon. We are right here in Marbella, beautiful villa for this week. And I'm sitting here right in front of my MacBook and we're gonna go through the most important markets right now, which for me are Bitcoin, Ripple, or crypto in general. And then we're gonna talk about gold a little bit and let's see what else we can cover in this market update video, right? The video is intended to give you an overview where the market is going on my perspective. This is not an investment advice. This is not for you to get signals or trade ideas out of it. It's just for the traders and investors, or maybe even if you have no idea about trading and investing, so I can tell you where the markets may go and what is happening out there, right? So right now we are on the Bitcoin chart. Bitcoin had a perfect move that went to our new whole correction level, which basically means we have this up push from the lowest point, right? Let me choose the arrow so I can show you. Okay, so we have this up push, this is the lowest point. We have this up push, a beautiful correction into our 50% correction level, where it reacted, went up, corrected again into our correction level perfectly, went up again, and from there on we continued downwards, where we are now in the whole correction level. The whole correction level basically is from the lowest point until the highest point, and then our defined Fibonacci entries, which is 50% and 66.7%, which is this one. We are currently in the BC, not in the whole correction level. Let me correct that, which is BC is from B to C. So this whole move where it should react, because we have a high here, a higher high here. Now the problem is, what I'm seeing in Bitcoin is that obviously, as you can see, I'm currently in a buy position, leveraged on Bybit, which you can see here, which already reacted a little bit. But what is worrying me a little bit is that we have a high and then a very low higher high. It's not like a big higher high. It's not like a defining higher high, which tells us a little bit that market volume is missing. And then obviously we had this big drop over here, right? This one, which is after the FTX shutdown, one of the highest breakouts towards bearish momentum, towards the downside, after, as I said, FTX happening, right? So we had a drop of about 10 to 13, 14%. This is due to liquidations on the market. Obviously, China Bank going down, or one of the largest Chinese developing banks going down. And we see this drop, but perfectly with the system in tune, where it dropped into our new buying zone, which I was waiting for all the time, right? Our targets for Bitcoin currently in the next move would be around 35,377. So I look forward to have a correction and a reaction somewhere over here and then pushing up. Now, what could happen, since I see that volume is missing, we could drop lower to our 50%, right? Which is basically this one. Let me clean it up a little bit, which is basically here on 23,623, right? This is our whole correction level, which is stronger, where market could drop to, right? Now, another thing that is beautifully with the SK system that we are using for this analysis is that we had a bearish smaller sequence over here that perfectly ended and perfectly was touched by the price by the precision is crazy, was perfectly touched here in the C, which is the Fibonacci extension, which basically defines where C is, where the market is going, and it perfectly went into there. From there on started to react. So we have to see. Right now it's still pretty stable. I am bullish on Bitcoin for now. Up to 35,000 would be the target, and that's what I'm looking for, and that's why I'm in a buy position with low risk. We could drop below, obviously, and then look for re-entries over here, okay? Now, many people say, hey, Bitcoin is gonna drop, Bitcoin is gonna drop. That's not it. We're gonna drop again very, very low. I think that could happen, but first we need to see a little bit of a push up here, and from here on we maybe could obviously then drop again. If we say, okay, we hit target perfectly, we could go down and drop again to, let's say, about 24, right? So we go up, we drop again. That's my outlook basically for Bitcoin right now. All in all, if we go obviously higher in time frame, we are very, very, very low. So it's perfectly for investors to still get in. Don't be someone that says, oh, Bitcoin is already too high. It's like, don't be so focused on the small time frame charts when it comes to investing. Go into the higher ones, and then obviously what you can see here is that we are building up bullish momentum, just price action. Now again, what is a little bit frightening in this setup is basically that we have our high here, we have it corrected, and then we have a lower high. I would have liked to have a more dominant high like for example this one here, and then we have the higher high, and this one is not too dominant, which means we need more buyers in the market, which could indicate that we are dropping, which we did. Getting new buyers in over here, maybe even dropping a little bit below, like a fake out, where people that, for example, trade support and resistance would say, oh, we broke the structure, okay, just to get buyers in somewhere over here where you can see my cursor right now, and then getting the buyers and pushing up, right? But you see an uptrend, which is happening right here. Then we also have the EMA 200 on the weekly, which indicates us we are having support over here, right? EMA 200 basically is the moving average, exponential moving average, which is the only indicator that I use for entries. Basically, when in the SK system we have a defined buying or selling area, if the EMA 200 goes through it, it's an extra confirmation for that, right? But here we see the EMA 200 supporting our theory of Bitcoin building up bullish momentum perfectly, okay? So when we go back and we see breakouts, that's what I always love to do, is go back in price and see what happened in the past, how did it happen, and what we can see, for example, before we had a major run, right, which we are looking forward here, we can start to check out the markets over here, right? So we have the lowest point over here, for example, we have a push up, we have a little correction, a little bit of a higher, and then we see this one coming back, and then we see the complete breakout, right? So if you compare the two structures and you say, okay, we have the lowest point here, pull up or push up, then a pull back, and then a pull up and a push back, and then this is very similar to here, right? We have the high and we have the higher high, which is not that dominant over the other one. And then we have, it dropping a little bit and then going completely up, right? And you can see it in several structures back then. Let's find another example for this. Now maybe we are too deep into a weekly chart. Let's maybe talk about this one, right? The last run of 2019 and 20, or basically 19, 18, 19. So let me see if we can zoom in a little bit. Okay, basically low, pull, then here we have a little bit of a sideways trend, then it sparked up, came back, and then started the bull run, right? So it's always the same pattern, obviously in every market, just explaining you how to indicate and see that kind of stuff, right? So that's basically about Bitcoin. Our targets are defined. Our overall target still stays 122,000 for Bitcoin, which we are looking forward to hit in the future, okay? So this one is still open. Now let's just quickly check for bearish momentum, bearish indicators. So when we zoom in, this is the bearish structure that I've been talking to that perfectly work out. I mean, just see how beautiful this is. We had the high, we had the low, we have the pullback, and perfectly went into our selling zone and then completely dropped and then perfectly ended the move of price into our defined zone, which is the defined zone by Fibonacci, and I will show you. So we have the high, we have the low, we have the correction, and that's where it ends, okay? The Fibonacci extensions define our target zone, and this is in between 1.618% and 200%, or basically 2% of the whole move, right? So double of what the correction did. So this is where it ends, and it perfectly ended in there, indicating also a new buying zone that we are currently buying from, and we are in an open position in trade, looking forward the market to go over here. I set my take profit over the last high just to secure profits afterwards. Maybe I leave some open to run until our target, which again would be 35,300. Okay, so that's about Bitcoin. Very interesting right now. Let's move over to Ripple. Ripple will be easier for us to understand because Ripple, I was actually in a buy position. Ripple did a little bit of a ugly fake out, which I got perfectly stopped out on point. Crazy, huh? Sometimes you even get stopped out on point. So I entered somewhere over here, then obviously the big crash came, or the drop, and then we got stopped out. Currently I'm not in Ripple as a trade. Obviously the only trade that I'm having open in crypto right now is Bitcoin. Besides that, obviously we always invest and buy into Ripple as long as it gets cheaper. Okay, so basically this one we can delete, or not delete, but take out the profit part because we hit stop loss. And right now we are in Ripple, also obviously in the buying zone, which we faked out a little bit of, had a big wick over here. And right now we have to go in a little bit deeper in the time frame to see, okay, what is price doing, how it's building up, and what we see obviously is a complete sideways trend, which indicates that price is undecided and we are deciding what is happening. Probably we are getting buyers into the market. Now, the only thing that you can see here is that we have a high and we have lower lows. It comes back, but then we have lower lows. So we could indicate here that we are having a bearish sequence. Okay, so this one is a bearish momentum sequence, which will be activated as soon as price drops below our last low point. Okay, let me fix this. Okay, so below our last point. Okay, let me use something so I can easily indicate it for you. We use the arrow again. Okay, so if price drops this here, current price drops below this, then it's an activated sequence, which speaks for it to be more bearish confirmation than bullish. Okay, so this is a sequence that I wouldn't trade. Obviously, it's just to indicate for us where it's going. So it's very, very, very undecided right now, or it's basically in this, cannot really decide right now if it's going up or down. Again, I am buying. We could still drop a little bit or even a little bit more, but all in all, I see it more bullish than bearish. That's again why I'm in a positive trade. And Ripple, obviously, with the new sequence that we have, which or not this new sequence, but basically with the low, right? And then we have the Fibonacci tool again, which we use the lowest point, then the highest, and then the correction. We have price and targets for Ripple at 1.45, right? So this would be a percentage push, which we will definitely achieve. Maybe it will drop a little lower, but we will go to this target, which would be a 2.5x or 2.4x of your money, okay? So that's very, very interesting. And we keep that in mind, and that's the outlook for Ripple currently. Then we continue to focus on Ethereum, obviously. For me, these are the three majors for me, which are interesting right now. Ethereum is also currently obviously in a buy zone. So Ethereum is already in the whole correction level, as you can see right here. Okay, so Ripple is in the whole correction level, which basically means we have, again, the low, first push, pullback, perfectly reacted, went up, highest point on the sequence. Then we corrected back, had a reaction over here, came back, dropped below, and we broke the BC correction level, which is the first quadrant, and we went into the whole correction level, which we are seeing a reaction right now of also a very slow reaction. Obviously, Ethereum is moving still not as dominant as Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still the dominant pair here. That's also why I'm trading it. Not very interested in Ethereum right now. When it comes to trading, accumulating, obviously very, very interested in it. But yeah, we are right now here also in the whole correction level. Target for Ethereum stays and would be for us 2461, so 2,461 US dollars, where Ethereum is moving up to. All in all, stable and good upwards momentum over here, and price action, how it's building up. I like that. So we have the low over here coming back, getting buyers in again, going up and slowly building up this momentum. And this zone basically means, okay, so this zone is very interesting over here. Why? Because all of this zone, if you look at it as price action wise, it's getting buyers into the market, right? It's a little bit of a sideways trend with some breaks to the bottom, getting in new buyers, building up pressure to then basically go up in a big push, right? Because that's what we need. We need a dominant push to see, okay, hey, we are back. Crypto is alive, but again, it could also drop a little bit more, get some buyers in. When it comes to investing, it doesn't really matter for us. We are buying, even if it drops lower, but we're gonna see that dominant push up. I'm very, very, very secure. I'm very much looking forward for that. Besides that, again, trading wise, very risky right now. If you open positions, as I have an open position in Bitcoin, then keep in mind that it's a very risky and undecided area where we could drop a little bit more. So when it comes to Ethereum, we're already in the whole correction level. Ripple, we are in the whole correction level. Now Bitcoin is still in BC, right? Which could show us, okay, Bitcoin is more dominant. If Bitcoin now reacts, obviously in Ethereum and Ripple, we are correcting out of the whole correction level. Bitcoin would react out of the BC correction level, which shows us that Bitcoin at the end of the day could move up now in all the other markets we are in. If Bitcoin drops to the whole correction level, probably Ethereum and Ripple will drop even below the whole correction level, which would not be such a beautiful build up of bullish momentum. So I would like to see Bitcoin right now reacting from the BC. So Ethereum and Ripple, they react out of the whole correction level, okay? So of lower points, which perfectly then works with our system together. And everything is clear and easy when it comes to that, okay? So if you're an investor, continue to buy if you want to. This is not investment advice, that's what I am doing. I'm continuously buying. If we drop lower, no problem. At the end of the day, we are buying for the big push, okay? We are buying for bullish momentum, bullish season, which is coming up in 2024 on the next halving. I predict that Bitcoin and crypto in general is gonna pump, especially when it comes to Q1 2024, so we still have time to accumulate and enter in good positions, okay? For trading, again, very risky right now, the markets. Let's see, I would enter maybe if the market shows us really that we are in a push-up. Maybe you can go into lower time frames and find entries. Whatever system you trade with the SK system, I would go into the lower time frames. What I want to see in the lower time frames, for example, for here, is we going out of the sideways trend and really building up bullish momentum, right? So as you can see here, we have a bullish structure, low, up, correction, dominant high, coming back, okay, getting buyers in. And if we have a push out of this, right, then we could start to find entries on a lower time frame for Bitcoin or crypto in general if you want to trade it. But for that, I want to see more movement happening, okay? So we could somewhere enter, if you say that's, we could somewhere enter over here. So if you say this is the sequence, okay, the build up of the bullish momentum, so it will be like something like this, okay, so like this. And then obviously we have the re-entry, our target. Our re-entry is again 50%, which would support the EMA. So I would look for a re-entry over here. And then obviously what should happen is this bigger sequence, right, building up with a target over here. We're really getting out of this BC correction level, and that's where I would find my entries after more bullish confirmation of the current price action, since it's still in a sideways trend and very undecided, okay? That's about crypto. Let's move over to especially gold. Gold, a very important topic. I just did a video on my Value channel explaining everything about gold, and we are moving over to gold right now. Metal assets, XAU USD. Okay, so what is happening in gold? What's up? So gold reacted very bearish on this move over here, this red quadrant, which again, from the highest point up to the lowest point, we had a perfect bearish reaction over here, as you can see, where we could have entered. So we could have entered here was perfect. I actually, as you can see here, I actually had a trade open, which I got stopped out by a couple of pips. So this Wix took me out, and then it basically dropped, which is insane, and I was so mad. But yeah, that's how it works, right? Sometimes you are unlucky, but where we got really lucky is basically here, right? So we entered over here, no wick. I still remember that was in Cape Town, and in one day we pushed up to here, which again was a beautiful profit, right? So all in all, gold is doing what it should do. We have this bearish sequence, which is activated. Now our interesting points to get in again would be the whole correction level of this complete sequence, which would be defined here, okay, in between 1936 and 1954. That's our entry zone. Now let's see in the daily chart what is gold doing. Yeah, so the thing is, we still have this bearish. So we are so the dominant market is the bullish one right now. Okay, this one. Now we have buy zones, and which is this yellow quadrant over here, which basically is the whole correction level of this move, right? So this is our buying zone, overall buying zone. From there, we are leading down, obviously, in bearish structure, which is the secondary dominant, or the second most dominant move, which we could look for a re-entry in gold if gold goes up to our whole correction level like this, right? So it goes up to here. And from there on, what we would do, indicating by the arrow again, we go up here, right? And then we sell directly on the 50%. And we want to see price coming down to this whole correction level, which is the contrary correction level of the bullish sequence, okay? So for the traders, gold right now, wait until we are in the 50%. Wouldn't find entries over here because you're still in the move, and then trade it down until this point and then get out secure profits, which is already a lot if you get a good entry. And from there on, I would start to go bullish again. Okay, so for here now we go bearish. From this point we start. So from this point we start bullish again, because gold in the current situation that we are economically, with BRICS announcing probably the gold standard, with you know, the financial system crashing or basically getting worse and worse every day, we have to see gold going up. Okay, but if you want an extensive gold analysis, obviously I did a video, it's below pinned, and you can check it out. Okay, because there are some things you need to be very careful about when it comes to gold. Now, the problem that I'm having with gold in general over here is this here. You see these three, because gold is the most manipulated asset on the world, but you see this, and you see this, and you see this, where for 3 times they get price up, they completely crash it down, they get it up again, they completely crash it down, they get it up and they completely crash it down. Now, ask yourself the question, who is selling on that top? Who's dominating price on that top, so it completely drops when there's too many buyers in there, because they finally think, now we're gonna break it, now we're gonna break it, now we're gonna break the ceiling, and then it drops completely. Obviously, the big players in the market, right? So I really want to see one thing in the market, which is basically, if we indicate it as a sequence, I want to really see this push up, this pull back, and then we finally breaking the structure, which we really need to break for Bitcoin to for gold to finally go up over here, right? And then basically out of this move only, our targets, which we can predict a little bit, would be, so we take the lowest point, we take the first highest point, we take the correction, let's say it's corrected 50%. So we would have gold somewhere here at between 2594 and 27772, right? So 2590 up to 2768, something like that. Okay, so 2700 to 2800 would be then the final decision where we are basically target where we're going. Now, below in a weekly, below even this push, right? And we'll just take this off here. We see gold's move, which is insane, bro. So especially this year, from 1999 to 2011, bro. That's like 12 years. 12 years. In 12 years, gold went for 700%, so 7x the investment. Okay, so we have even below the first whole correction level, which is the yellow one, we still have a dominant one, which is this one. Okay, so this one is the most dominant one. That's the one that we could see touching, but I don't think so. So I truly predict and think that we're gonna come down, what I just said, we're gonna come down to this very point over here, build up bullish momentum, and finally break out of the ceiling that was obviously created over the last couple of years, where they always crashed it, right? So these 3 mountain points over here, or peaks. Okay, so that is my outlook for gold right now. Trading advice is selling it, in my opinion. Finding good entries in this zone that we just marked over here with the SK system, which would be the 50% correction level, and then selling it down to the point of 1841, and then we look for bullish structure and get into the bullish structure as I just explained it for Bitcoin, and then I see gold going up in the long run. Okay, so these are currently the most important markets for me. Everything else is pretty low, very uninteresting. Let's see what our Forex trades are doing. So I'm still in the AUD NZT swing trade buy, and I'm also in the Euro CAD sell, which is also in profit, also a swing trade. Besides that, let's check our most important pairs and what is happening. So AUD USD is breaking structure, confirms that it's bearish. Euro UD is waiting for entry. Same with Euro Swiss franc, which I don't touch anymore. It's completely fucked. Now this week, many people shorted the JPY pairs, which I don't see any entry for that. Okay, nothing interesting here. NZT CAD same, NZT USD. So Forex is actually running pretty well. in the last couple of weeks, considering that it's obviously August, it's summer, right? So there's some good setups, you can bank a lot, but I'm mainly focused on Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and gold, which I just gave you a beautiful update for. Hopefully you took out some notes on that. If you are a trader, investor, if you are a beginner, if you are expert, I hope you could, take information for you. I tried to make it as basic as possible, so even for new people to understand, for the outlooks, where it's heading. All in all, I see still a big uptrend in crypto and obviously in gold too, in these assets, since we are in a financial depression and we're probably hitting financial peak depression in Q1 of 2024, which perfectly matches with the Bitcoin cycle, right? In terms of other indicators out there, obviously the world is very undecided. We don't have that much fear still in the asset class, right? People are not on the fear index that high. They're still pretty moderate. All in all, I still believe that the hard assets, gold especially, metals, and then obviously crypto is gonna pump insanely in the next year, since the financial markets will completely crash. Before that, I think that they're gonna pump the market one more time, which should be happening pretty soon, or starting Q1, which then obviously means that crypto and all these assets, because that's where the rich people invest, if money pumps again, if they continue to print a lot of money, and then it completely crashes, right? So that's my outlook for all of that. As an investor and trader, you know now what to do. That's what I am doing. Again, this is not investment advice. I don't, I'm not an investment advisor, and this is just my opinion. Hopefully it helps you. Let's get it.